Offered to craft a sweet 16 party for my coworker's daughter, faced teenage attitude, and now I'm reconsidering my generosity. I run a small family party business from my home as a second job. My coworker is a single mom with 5 kids. Over the years I have offered a few times to make party favors and decorations for her kids' parties as a gift. Things are a struggle for her and I just wanted to do something nice for her kids. I buy all the supplies and my labor is free and is their gift. The scale and cost of everything changes depending on the event. I do this for my nieces and nephews as well. I enjoy doing it and I think it makes people happy. A few weeks ago I offered to make sweet 16 favors and some decorations for a small restaurant party for my coworker's daughter. One night I FaceTimed with the mother and the daughter and we were discussing colors. She picked light blue and light pink as her color scheme. That's not colors I normally would associate with a sweet 16 and I mentioned it to her that I was concerned it would look more like a baby shower. She snapped at me and said I want light blue and light pink. Okay, got it. A few days later, I'm speaking to the mother that I wasn't finding a lot of sweet 16 items in that color scheme. She picks up the phone and calls her daughter on speakerphone and explains to her the issue. The daughter abruptly says what part of light pink and light blue does she not understand. I know she is a child and has had a rough road but am ADA for not going the extra mile making them. I offered to make favors and I will make sure they are beautiful. But any joy I have making them is totally gone. Normally, I would do a couple of surprises along with the favors, but I just don't have it in me and I feel terrible for being upset at a child. I feel like such a terrible person. Any advice on what I should do? Update 1. I had offered to make sweet 16 favors for a coworker's daughter who was having a small restaurant party. I was paying for all the supplies and the favors were my gift. My coworker is a single mom with 5 kids. I really offered because of my relationship with the mother. We worked together over 20 years and I really do love her. She's had a very hard road the last few years. 2 really crappy husbands, and honestly terrible taste in men. I was discussing the color scheme with the daughter and mom over FaceTime and she had mentioned that she wanted light blue and light pink as her colors. I don't typically associate those colors with a sweet 16, I was slightly concerned it might look like a baby shower. She was not happy with that statement and repeated light pink and light blue. In a super harsh tone. A few days later, I spoke to the mother and I explained to her I was having issues finding what her daughter wanted in those colors. She called her on speakerphone with me in the room and the daughter say loudly what part of light blue and light pink does she not understand. I walked away super upset. I had planned on making her favors and then surprising her with going to the restaurant before the party and use matching tablecloths, chair covers and fancy balloon centerpieces. The mother and I had talked about this, but the daughter did not know. It was going to be a surprise. I just didn't feel like doing the extras after she acted like that. Answers to all the questions that came in. The daughter absolutely knew that this was my free gift to her. She knows there's no charge for this. She knew that I was on the call both times. A number of people thought I was rude for saying I didn't like the color scheme. Unfortunately I'm a doormat. The daughter set the tone of the conversation early on, and there was no way to get it on a positive tone. All I could think is that she didn't like having a small party and that she wanted something much bigger but her mother cannot afford it. A number of people thought that this might be a coming out party of some kind. I know that it's not. A number of people thought I was being too sensitive. That I needed to get over a rude 16-year-old. I deal with rude people every day and I do it with a smile. Honestly, it's a gift. Being rude just means you're not happy, but I was upset because I've known this child since the day she came home from the hospital. I would have hoped I meant a little more to her. Apparently, I was incorrect. I know better now. A number of people thought the mom was wrong for not correcting the daughter immediately. Sadly I agreed. It was such an uncomfortable conversation. She apologized for her being a teenager when we got off the phone. I thought it was a cop-out. I definitely think the daughter has the upper hand in the mother/daughter relationship. Getting me involved is just awful. Lastly, so many people told me not to make the favors, to tell the daughter that I was unable to find what she wanted and unable to make them. I am going to make the favors, but I'm not going to do anything else. I had budgeted $150. To make the 18 favors. To be honest with you, I'm broke. $150 is definitely something I don't need to spend, especially on a kid who is extremely rude. I totally offered and I will absolutely make them, but I'm not going to do anything else. Let's explain me, I can't help volunteering. No matter what it is, I'm the first one to volunteer. I offer my time and my party supplies, way too easily. I am at the point now where I do more free labor work than I get paid. Even if somebody pays for the supplies, it never covers the whole thing. It always costs me something. I have to start working on getting paid parties and less free stuff, but I'm really having a hard time with so many people who are so used to getting my services for free. Last week a woman asked me to make favors for her daughter's college bed party. In the past, she had paid for only my supplies. I explained to her that I could no longer do it, but I would have to charge her and give her a good discount. She was totally upset that I had the nerve to ask her to pay. I've done 4 or 5 things for her for free in the past, but for some reason, she felt I was in the wrong. She bitched to so many people about me. How dare I charge her? Meanwhile, we're not even close friends. My Reddit family is a harsh judge. You have given me some perspective to realize that all of this is absolutely my fault, that I allowed my friend's daughter to talk to me that way, and that I'm stupid for making the favors. I just don't have it in me to not make them. But it's really pushing me to take a stand and set some kind of boundaries, because I can't keep giving it away for free. It is going to be the death of me. I'm way too stressed about meeting deadlines for people for free and not taking on more paid work. Update 2. A few weeks back, I asked for advice. I had offered to make Sweet 16 favors for the daughter of a long-time co-worker/friend Sweet 16. She was having 20 girls at a small restaurant. The favors were my gift and I had $150 budget. My friend/co-worker is a single mom of 5. I just wanted to try to do something nice for my friend. I have a small family party business as a second job and I thought I could help. I fully admit I'm a doormat and I offer to help people way more than anybody would offer to help me. It's so hard for me not to offer. I had FaceTimed with the mother and daughter to discuss colors for the favors. The daughter said she wanted light blue and light pink. I told her I was worried that it might look like a baby shower. She then rudely answered back, light blue and light pink. In my previous post, a lot of people criticized me for being negative about the color. As I explained before, I really didn't care what color she picked, I just was worried it looked like a baby shower. We had one more negative interaction and I decided to do the favors I promised, but I decided not to do anything extra. I was thinking of going to the restaurant and setting up tablecloths and chair covers. I know this child since the day she came home from the hospital. I was very upset about our interactions. She knew this was free and that it was my gift to her. So the party is this weekend and I brought the favors to work today. I made 24 pink gift bags with blue tissue paper and matching wired ribbon. Each bag has chocolate-covered pretzels, chocolate Oreos and chocolate marshmallows, labeled chapsticks, cute pink sunglasses with the birthday girl's name on the side. My friend thinks her daughter's going to love them, which I'm happy to hear. As I walk away, she asked me if I can do one more favor for her. She wants me to make a favor bags for her boyfriend's daughter's bed party. Bed party is for high school senior girls. Their friends bring them swag from the college they were accepted and decorate her bed with the school colors. Honestly, I was floored. I have never met this girl and no, my friend did not offer to pay for the favors. I told her I'm so sorry but unfortunately, I can't. She said she understood, but for the last few hours, things have been weird between us. The old me would be making these favors, the new me says no. I have to remember no is a word. I have been pretty good about saying no to people since my last post. The only thing I have agreed to do is 2 raffle baskets for a childhood cancer fundraiser and 2 baskets for my kids' school fundraiser. I know I'm a work in progress, but today my friend reminded me that I need to think of me first. Alright, folks. Hold on to your hats, because this update is going to prove just how wild things can get in the little family favor business world. I really thought I'd put my foot down. After all, saying no to my friend for once felt like the biggest step I'd taken in years. But oh, no. The universe had other plans. So, I dropped the Sweet 16 favors at work, proud but admittedly drained. I went home, fully resolved to start prioritizing paid work and really, actually stick to my boundaries. I was even thinking about making a real rate sheet, finally, for the business and maybe even getting some outside help for my social media, because why not dream big? I was supposed to enjoy a rare free Saturday, but fate is a prankster. My phone started buzzing at 10:45 a.m., my friend's number, 5 times in a row. I finally pick up, worried. She's in a full-blown panic. The restaurant where her daughter's party is booked had double-booked the private room, and with only a few hours to spare, they offered the world's saddest apology and a discount for the main dining area. But it doesn't come with decorations, she says, her voice tight. The manager says if I want to bring in my own, that's fine. But I don't even have tablecloths or anything. The girls are going to be so crushed. They really wanted the private room vibe and the little photo booth area. I know you said you couldn't do extras, but... Silence. Cue that familiar guilt. Here's the kicker, while she's pleading, her daughter is, for once, in the background. She's trying to comfort her youngest sibling over a broken iPad, and I overhear her saying, I promise my birthday's going to be special no matter what. In that moment, she doesn't sound bratty or entitled. She just sounds 16. What would you do? Maybe you'd hang up and enjoy your Saturday. Not me. I told my friend to give me an hour, just to see what I could pull together with leftover stock at home. My basement is practically a mini warehouse of half-used supplies. I find a handful of pastel table runners, a roll of metallic pink tulle, a bunch of mismatched glass vases from old jobs, and even some fairy lights. I hustle to the dollar store for emergency basics, all while texting my niece, the only teen I trust for, is this cool? Approvals. With her advice, I run around like a madwoman shoving blue and pink things into my cart. Here's the crazy part, by 2:30 p.m., I'm standing in front of a frazzled restaurant manager, 3 shopping bags in each hand and a determined look on my face. My friend's daughter arrives to see me mid-decorate, stringing up pastel streamers, running a balloon garland down one long table, sticking heart-shaped blue and pink confetti to everything. For a second, I'm bracing for attitude, or eye rolling, and instead she just stares. I love the lights, she says quietly. It's so pretty. Thank you. Now, I wish I could say the moral of the story is that boundaries are pointless, and you should always drop everything for someone else's last-minute crisis, but here's where it actually gets interesting. One of the restaurant's regulars, a woman who runs a local wedding planning business, comes up to admire the quick setup. She's floored when my friend tells her I did it in about 90 minutes with less than $50 of supplies. She hands me her card and asks, "Do you freelance?" And then, get this, she tells me she's had a decorator drop out for a pop-up wedding event next weekend and asks if I can help her. Paid, of course. I almost laughed, but she was dead serious. She sends me floral inspiration boards by the time I get home. But wait, there's more. Monday rolls around. My friend calls me at lunch, nervous, but different this time. She tells me that her daughter teared up after the party, that it was the best birthday she'd ever had specifically because she saw how much her friends and family tried to make it special even when things went sideways. She also admits her daughter saw all the comments and texts after the favor drop-off. She'd gotten wind from her mom after the bed party request, which led to a very real, honest conversation about gratitude, kindness, and growing up under tough circumstances. And then, that evening, I get a text from the daughter. Not a two-word, thank you, but a full-on apology. She wrote, "I know I acted like a brat, and I really am sorry for being rude on the calls. You didn't have to do all this for me, and you did. You made it beautiful and made me feel really special. I hope I can help you sometime too. Thank you." I was so shocked I nearly dropped my phone. I can confidently say I've never had a 16-year-old apologize for attitude, let alone so sincerely. So, where am I at after all this madness? I have a paid wedding gig next week. I finally drafted a real party favor menu with actual prices and put it on my Instagram and Facebook page. Yes, shaking the whole time. I didn't make the bed party favors, and the world did not end. I've gained back a little faith that boundaries don't always burn bridges. Sometimes, they build new ones. And, maybe most importantly, I got that reminder I needed. People can surprise you in good ways too. Who would have thought a pastel balloon crisis would finally shove me, awkwardly, into turning my little party hobby into a for-real side business? I'm still a work in progress, and old habits die hard, but this time, the crazy party rescue may actually pay off in more ways than just cake. And yes, I bought myself a bottle of Moscato and watched Gilmore Girls with my phone on silent for the rest of the night. Self-care level unlocked. Update 3. First off, the pop-up wedding gig happened. Yes, the actual paid job I mentioned last time. I went into panic planning mode all week. Mood boards, vendor calls, late-night Pinterest deep dives, the works. The wedding planner, Sherry, not sure whether to love or fear her, is old school and intense as espresso shots, but she gave me full reign over a romantic boho chic theme. I spent days juggling frayed nerves and glue guns, testing centerpieces on my living room floor and voice memoing myself reminders like get zip ties. Don't forget to iron table skirts. Day of the event, I'm up at 5:30. My neighbor catches me stumbling to my car with a crate of faux eucalyptus and a mug bigger than my head. She shouts, "If you ever want extra hands, I'm retired, you know." We laugh, but a light bulb goes on. Hang on to that. The venue is this historic bed and breakfast, real country magazine vibes, until I walk in and discover, the florist cancelled, 2 hours before guests arrive. Sherry isn't panicking apparently, but I am. She just shrugs, "That's the business, honey. Can you improvise?" So what do? I grab my phone and call my neighbor. 30 minutes later, she swoops in with her entire garden, clipping roses, peonies, hydrangeas, even some wild herbs. I'm arm deep in buckets, ribbon, emergency hardware store vases. Between us, we assemble 10 bouquets and 12 centerpieces from scrap and backyard beauty. Guests arrive. Bride cries happy tears at the magical, wild flowers. Sherry? She gives me the most terrifying smile and whispers, "You got grit. Call me Monday." As if that isn't enough, 2 bridal party members privately ask if I do baby showers and small events, and one, you can't make this up, is a local news reporter on the community channel. She asks if she can feature my work for a segment on creative small businesses. Meanwhile, back at my day job, word has gotten out about the party miracle. Somehow, my boss ropes me into making a mini display for the office's summer family picnic. For pay. It's not huge, but my jaw is on the floor. 2 real paid jobs within a week of drawing that first, shaky boundary. But, of course, the real drama comes from my friend at work, sweet 16 mom. She's a mess of emotions, truthfully happy for me, but, let's keep it real, struggling with the new boundaries. Our coffee chats go from easy to awkward, especially when she's cornered by coworkers pestering, "Can your friend do my kid's communion party?" She admits she's overwhelmed. Her daughter's apology had gotten her thinking about how their whole family kind of expects people to pick up the slack. Not just me, but community folks, neighbors, other family. She tells me she's embarrassed by her daughter's behavior and her own impulse to fix everything by asking favors. She starts looking for ways to pay it forward, volunteering at the kids' school, even bringing me a Starbucks gift card, which, let's be real, made me cry in the car. Now, the cherry on this week's Insanity Sunday, the sweet 16 daughter messages me again. She wants to know if she could shadow me for her school's service project. She has to log hours for the NHS, and apparently, learning party planning from someone who actually makes people feel special is now her dream. Is this real life? I tell her sure, but only if she learns the secret to untangling balloon arches without popping 3 for every one she inflates. She's game. We set up her first lesson for next week. Last but not least, remember the woman who flamed me to half the neighborhood for asking to be paid for favors? She reached out. I heard you did a pop-up wedding for the news. Maybe we got off on the wrong foot. Would you consider working my sister's baby shower? I told her, very kindly, of course. Here's my price list. She didn't reply for a whole day. Then she wrote back, I respect the hustle. Let me know if you're free. Here we are. My social media is, well, pretty tragic, but at least it's getting eyeballs. I've gotten 2 inquiries from total strangers in the last week, both willing to pay. My basement is no less chaotic, but it feels different now, like maybe I'm finally building something for myself, not just filling in for what others can't or won't provide. The wildest twist, realizing that the more I value my time, the more other people do too. And the world really doesn't end if you say no. In fact, sometimes it cracks wide open and a little light pours in. Update 4. I can hardly believe what I'm about to type, but if you've made it this far, lean in. I never expected my side hustle to get swept up in what feels like a runaway train of karma, hard lessons, and maybe even a spark of real community. Because this month? It's been a parade of left-field curveballs, accidental networking, a surprise high school principal, and the kind of surreal, laugh-to-keep-from-crying moments that would make an HBO drama out of the party favor lady life. So, after the pop-up wedding, which, by the way, the news spot actually aired, me, wild hair and a cloud of tulle, awkwardly explaining how local flowers really just meant Mrs. Delaney's overgrown roses, I thought things might settle. Wrong. By the following Friday, my inbox is overflowing. Strangers, all local, and most astonishingly, most of them are not just expecting free stuff. It's like word traveled not just about my dollar store gone Pinterest fairy lights, but about the fact that I started saying no. And no must be catnip for people who want to pay for your services, because suddenly, my price sheet is the star of its own reply chain. Then, the principal emails me. Yes, the principal of my friend's daughter's high school, subject line, unique opportunity. My heart stutter jumps. Did she snitch on me for illegal use of centerpieces? Nope. Turns out, she's on the board for a local foster care advocacy group, and they've been following my little viral moment from the news segment. It seems their annual celebration dinner for graduating seniors is in need of something joyful, creative, and beautiful, on a shoestring. I laugh, because that's become my job description. She asks if I'd be willing to meet with a committee, plan a theme with kids who volunteered to co-chair the event, and advise, teach, a group of foster teens who want to help build their own decorations. The kicker, they can pay, and they'll cover materials. For once, no out-of-pocket desperation dash to the dollar store. After years of quietly doing this stuff just to help, and sometimes resent, let's be honest, the idea of being treated as a peer, paid, trusted, respected, needed, nearly undoes me. I meet the committee at a noisy Starbucks. They're all nervous, awkward, optimistic teens, notebooks full of ideas. Mostly, they just want the banquet to feel special. We want it to look like someone cared, just once. We brainstorm centerpiece ideas using upcycled jars and thrifted candles. I offer up all the tricks for making balloon garlands on a budget and show them how to fold tissue paper into massive, ridiculous flowers. Halfway through the session, sweet 16 daughter walks in. She's shadowing, remember? Sees who I'm meeting with, and, with barely a pause, offers to help demo tissue folding to the other kids. After the meeting, she confides she never realized how even just silly decorations can show people they matter. She wants to do more volunteer gigs with me, and by week's end, she's asked to suggest a party drive at her school. Students can donate new/unused party supplies for next year's foster banquet. From bratty on a FaceTime to actual activism. I get chills just writing that. Meanwhile, my neighbor, the retired and bored party elf, becomes my accidental assistant. We even get matching aprons, her idea. Mine says party boss, hers says glue gun guru. When the church up the street calls about a family fun night, she rides shotgun and distracts the kids with balloon animals while I staple banners to the ceiling. I wish I could describe the joy of actually working with someone, rather than feeling constantly put upon. My neighbor tells me she's grateful, that she feels 20 years younger. I tell her she's about to feel 80 when she sees the disaster in my basement. As for my party business, for the first time, I invoice for actual labor hours, not just supplies. 2 families don't bat an eye. One mom is so tickled with her kid's Space Explorer birthday she hands me free reign, budget and all, for her next event. Suddenly, Rosa from Human Resources, who once rolled her eyes at my tablescape at the office potluck, is DMing to ask if I could maybe fit in her son's graduation party. Yes, Rosa, for you, the new good rates, but, party people, the real twist is this: coworker friend, sweet 16 mom, and I both ended up at a fundraising breakfast. Her youngest is in a tutoring program. I was setting up raffle baskets. During the event, she pulls me aside, nervous, but instead of old patterns, she wants boundaries. She says she stopped offering my name for free gigs, and when asked, tells folks, she's a pro now, email her your budget. She brings me a little card, and inside is a story about a neighbor who used to bake birthday cakes for free for everyone, until one year someone brought her a birthday cake instead. Even givers sometimes need a party. It's the first time in years I feel seen by her as more than a backup plan. For the closing number, the local news wants to do a brief follow-up. They send a reporter, none other than the mom who wanted favors for free, and what do you know, she's a whole different person, chatty, professional, and, most importantly, at the end, she tucks a check into my hand. We always devalue women's hobbies until they become businesses. Glad you charged me this time, she says, laughing. We both get a little teary, it's weirdly healing, and after the most recent party, when a stunned dad shakes my hand and says, "You made my kid feel like $1,000,000 on a regular Tuesday," I realize I am exhausted, exhilarated, and finally, genuinely proud. My basement is a mess of ribbons and hot glue scars, but it finally feels like evidence of something I built on my own terms, and, occasionally, with just the right help at the right time. Next on deck? I've started a party workshop night at the community center, $8 per person, bring your own wine, leave with a centerpiece and the courage to say no to unreasonable favors at least once this year. My kid helps with registrations, the neighbor coordinates snacks, and sweet 16 daughter offered to design the flyers. Her tagline? Every party starts with a boundary, update 5. If you'd told me a year ago that one light pink and blue meltdown could kick off the wildest season of my life, I'd have laughed you right out of my hot glue, splattered kitchen. But here we are, in what feels suspiciously like chapter 5 of a feel-good drama, part comedy, part oops I did it again, and part maybe the universe does have a decent sense of humor after all. So, let me take you on this latest roller coaster, which includes a high-stakes prom rescue, a surprise party summit, my viral moments totally unintended consequences, and, wait for it, the return of the infamous chafing dish mom, this time in disguise. Here's how it all kicked off. After the news segment re-aired as part of a Women in Business montage, seriously, my hair was not meant for HD, the high school principal reached out again, this time with a gentle SOS. Prom was 3 weeks away, their event planner had just been put on bed rest, and half of this year's class were foster kids or scholarship students. In their words, we want to do more than a half-hearted balloon drop in a playlist, but we ran out of budget and, honestly, creative ideas. I almost didn't answer. Life had finally tucked itself into a manageable chaos, paid gigs trickling in, workshop nights going strong, my kid accidentally gluing streamers to their pajamas, again. But the principal leaned in with the magic words, we can pay, and, if you want, bring your apprentice. So, sweet 16 daughter and I took on the job, with the caveat that she leads. She organized a group chat with other NHS kids, designed a Starry Night garden theme, and hijacked my Pinterest account so thoroughly my feed now thinks I'm opening a fairy wedding venue. I managed the adults and logistics, meaning, I begged my neighbor for her floral sorcery, but sweet 16 daughter ran every brainstorm and taught the team balloon arch basics. There are no words for the pride I felt watching her become the balloon whisperer, even if a few rolls of tape disappeared up her sleeve. With $600 to play with, better than nothing, still crazy tight, we raided thrift stores, repurposed all my old votives, and hit every clearance bin in a 2-county radius. The result? A gym transformed, vines climbing over DIY arches, fairy lights snaking across the ceiling, and every table shining with jars of glow-in-the-dark pebbles. The kids were euphoric, teachers teared up. The real kicker, a shy student who'd been quiet all year came up at the end and whispered, "We never thought we'd have a real prom. You made it feel like a movie." Word started spreading even more. Suddenly, I'm fielding calls for emergency party fixes, not all local. My Instagram DMs fill up with requests ranging from my kid's 8th birthday is in 2 days, can you help? To would you fly to Michigan and rescue our VBS with your decorations? Spoiler, I'm not, in fact, getting on a plane, but somewhere out there, a pastor's wife in Ohio is reportedly reproducing my tissue flower tutorial for 70 children and I regret nothing. Meanwhile, workshop night takes on a life of its own. The first class auto-filled, so I added a wait list and it doubled. My kid, newly emboldened, pitches teen night where they teach middle schoolers how to assemble woven favor baskets and, apparently, gossip about teachers out of my earshot. My neighbor recruits her bridge club, read, 4 intimidating grandmas, and we end up with an outlandishly competitive centerpiece contest, complete with secret votes and a homemade trophy. The winner? A bejeweled flamingo made out of solo cups that now guards my supply shelf like a weird party totem. Now, let's talk about chafing dish mom. If you remember her, she once expected 5 dozen gourmet party favors, for free, and then raged up and down Main Street when I handed her a price list. Well, she showed up at workshop night, incognito in a bucket hat, as if that would disguise her signature perfume of mild resentment and supermarket Chardonnay. Halfway through, she sidled over, sheepish. I heard your parties are impossible to book now. I'll pay. I want to surprise my sister for her birthday, but I don't have the touch. 20 minutes later, I'm teaching her how to wield floral foam without injury, and, Somewhat miraculously, she pulls off a respectable mini centerpiece, beaming. We take a selfie. She posts it, tags my business, and suddenly, I have 3 new inquiries, all from folks who apparently heard her raving. Somewhere, the universe is laughing. The very next week, the local Parks and Rec director, who'd met me at the Foster graduation dinner, calls with maybe my most unhinged job yet. Could I help a group of campers, ages 7 to 11, design and throw an Imagination Day parade through the park? Budget, $100, scale, maximum chaos. I say yes, partly because I'm a glutton for punishment, but mostly because my kid wants to build a hat shaped like a turtle riding a bicycle. Do you know how hard it is to hot glue plastic fruit to a helmet when surrounded by 27 small children who all want in on the action? But the parade happens. Kids hoist banners, confetti cannons go off, everyone's a mess of joy and mismatched colors, and a local photographer snaps photos that end up plastered all over our tiny town's Facebook page. I pick confetti out of my hair for 2 days, but the gig earns me 3 calls for upcoming family reunions, all paid. But none of this compares to what happened at the next foster care banquet. The first year I've done it as an actual vendor, not an she'll do it for free. Last resorter. The committee budgeted for me, kids asked for specific DIYs, and, here's my favorite surprise, the principal presented me with a thank you card that all the grads signed. Inside, thanks for showing us parties don't have to be perfect, just for us. And tucked between the pages? 2 crisp gift cards, one for the local craft supply, one for, wait for it, a spa. My neighbor cackled. You know you've made it when the party lady gets paid to relax. So here I am. The party business is still run out of my basement, but my system's evolving. Supply shelves, almost, organized, a color-coded pricing binder, my neighbor's idea, she double underlined must invoice self first, and a calendar filling up through fall. Sweet 16 daughter is officially my part-time assistant, helping both with the kid volunteers and dreaming up even more elaborate ideas. She wants to apply for a summer program in nonprofit leadership, inspired by her work with the foster committees, and asked if I'd write her first ever job reference. Of course I did, she earned it 100 times over. My coworker friend, once the queen of just one more favor, did something that nearly broke me. She threw me a surprise thank you brunch at her place. No requests, no strings. She invited my neighbor, my kid, even sweet 16 daughter. She actually bought the food, a spread of bagels, quiche, mimosas, she knows the way to my heart, and a homemade card that reads, thanks for teaching us how to set boundaries and make life beautiful on a budget. You're not just family backup anymore. You're a boss. So I guess that's the wildest update of all, learning that boundaries don't just keep the takers at bay, they make room for the helpers, the learners, and the ones surprised to find they had some giving in them, too. Here's to more chaos, more paid parties, more wild DIYs, and maybe, if I'm lucky, finally finding the bottom of the supply closet. But let's be honest, not likely.